Good morning, everyone. This one again is brought to you by the team at Be Connected, beconnected.esafety.gov.au. My name is Matt, I'm from Ready Tech Go, and we are looking at the wonders of smartphone photography today. So we're going to be talking about all the different types of cameras and smartphones there are. So we'll look a little bit at the Apple iPhone cameras. We'll also have a look at the Android device cameras as well, and you can learn a little bit more about them before we actually go in and maybe take some photos. We'll talk about selfies. What's a good selfie? What's a bad selfie? There are such things as bad selfies, and I see a lot of them. So we'll tell you about how to actually make a really good selfie. As well, we'll talk about some accessories such as gimbals and stands and things that you can buy to make your photography even better. So lots of little things there to cover in today's workshop. Now, of course, we are using the amazing team at Be Connected for a lot of the information here today. So let's go over to the Be Connected website, beconnected.esafety.gov.au. That's beconnected.esafety.gov.au. So we are now over in the Apple iPhone Doing More course, and we're going to be looking at Apple iPhone using the camera. We'll also come over and we'll be looking at the Android phone using the camera option as well from the Android phone Doing More. Now, we've got a little video for each section, about 18 minutes each, which is great for those of you who may be interested in either or both of the particular platforms. There's some really great little information with you, so I'm going to share that with you now. And then when we come back from each one of these videos, we're going to take some photos and we'll trust for editing, and we'll have a look at some of the other options as well. See you very soon.
Welcome to the Android phone using the camera course. In this course, you'll learn how to quickly access your phone's built-in camera, how to take a photo, and use it as a background image, how to take a selfie, delete a photo you don't like, and how to edit a photo and send it to a friend. This video should take around 15 minutes to complete. But you can pause or rewind at any time to check the steps. One of the great things about Android is that there are many brands and models to choose from. They all work in a similar way, but it might mean some of the screens in this video look a little different on your device. Don't worry though, as you'll still be able to follow along. Before we begin, check your phone is charged, switched on, and is showing the home screen. Your operating software should also be up to date. To follow all the steps in this course, your phone will also need to have a plan with a mobile phone provider and mobile reception. To get started, let's look at how to access the camera on your phone. One way is to find and tap on the Camera app. On some phones, this will be on the home screen, but you will also find it on the Apps screen. Swipe up from the home screen to open the Apps screen. Then find the Camera app. When you tap on it, the Camera app will open, ready to use. There's also a handy shortcut to the Camera app, giving fast access to the camera, so you never have to miss a shot. It's easy too. Simply press the power button on the side of your phone twice quickly to open the Camera app. Best of all, you can use this shortcut at any time, which means you don't even have to unlock your phone to snap a photo or record video. Opening the Camera app activates the camera, and the screen shows you what the camera can see. This is called the live view. The camera isn't taking pictures or recording right now. It's just ready to use. Along the edge of the live view, you will see a list of options for taking different types of photos and even videos. You can swipe left and right to see all the options, but for this demonstration, we're going to select Photo. To take a photo, hold the camera so the live view is showing what you want to photograph. When you are happy with the scene, tap the middle Capture button. The phone will make a sound like a camera going click, and the screen may also blink or flash. Well done! You've taken a photo. The photo will be saved to your phone's Gallery app, and we'll look at that in more detail later in this course. You can, however, always view the last photo you've taken by tapping the circle to the left of the Capture button. Tap on it to see your photo. Adding a photo as a background image on the home screen is a fun way to personalize your phone, so let's do that now. Look for the 3 vertical dots in the top right corner of the screen and tap them to see a list of options. To save our image as the new home screen background, tap Set as Wallpaper. A box will pop up at the bottom of the screen. There are a few options here, and for this demonstration we're going to set our photo to the home screen only. Tap Home Screen. The screen will change to show a preview of how the photo will look on the home screen. You can adjust the position of the photo with your finger by moving it left, right, or even up or down. When you are happy with how the photo looks, tap Set as Wallpaper. Well done! Tap the Home button to close the gallery and see your new background. Next, let's take another kind of photo called a selfie. A selfie is any photo taken using the phone's front-facing camera. It's called a selfie because it's usually a photo of, well, yourself. First, you need to open the camera app again. On the phone in this demonstration, it's right here on the home screen. So let's tap on it. Now, from the live view screen, find the selfie button. It will most likely look like an icon of a camera with an arrow around it. Once you've found the selfie button, tap on it. Your face should appear in the live view. You might need to hold the phone out at arm's length and at a bit of an angle to get the shot lined up the way you want it. Tap the Capture button to take your selfie. The phone will make a click sound and the photo will be automatically saved to the gallery. Now, getting the perfect selfie can take a bit of practice. Everyone has their own idea of what makes a good selfie. For instance, if you want your selfie to show you looking directly at the camera, instead of looking at the live view like a mirror, look at the top of the phone. This means you will be looking at the lens of the selfie camera. Let's take a couple more practice selfies now by tapping the Capture button. Next, let's look at the photos we've taken so far in the phone's gallery. Tap the Home button to return to the home screen. Swipe up from the bottom of the home screen to show the Apps screen. Find the Gallery app and tap to open it. If you can't find an app called Gallery, It may be called something like My Photos or Camera Roll. Like the Camera app, the Gallery app can vary a lot between different types of Android phones. It should, however, present a grid of mini photos, known as thumbnails, with the most recent photos at the top. As these were the last photos you took, you should see your selfie thumbnails at the top of the screen. To get a better view, tap on one of them so it fills the screen. You can keep viewing your photos in this full screen mode. To see the next photo, swipe right. To see the previous photo, swipe left. If you find a photo or a selfie you don't like, you can easily delete it from your phone. At the bottom of the screen, you should see an icon of a garbage can. Some phones have this at the top of the screen. This is the Delete button. Tap it now. A small box appears, asking you if you really want to delete the photo. Tap Delete. The photo disappears and the screen will show the next photo in the gallery instead. Well done! The unwanted photo has been deleted and is gone from your phone. Remember, each time you take a photo, your phone saves the photo automatically. You don't have to save the photos yourself. You can also do some basic photo editing using your phone's Gallery app. For example, you can reduce the photo's width or height, known as cropping, straighten an uneven shot, and much more. Let's edit the selfie photo that's on the screen right now. At the bottom of the photo, look for the Edit icon. In this demonstration, it looks like a pencil. Tap it. And icons for some different controls will appear. It's worth coming back and experimenting with each of these controls later. But for this demonstration, we're going to crop the edges off our photo. Tap and hold one of the bottom corners of the photo and slide it upward. When you're happy with the composition of the new photo, take your finger off the display. The preview changes to show how the photo looks after cropping the edges. If you're not happy with the preview, you can uncrop the photo by dragging the corner back down and trying again. Have a play with how the crop controls work. And when you're happy with the result, tap Save at the top of the screen. The cropped selfie has now been saved as a new photo in the gallery. The original selfie will still be there, so if you don't like how the editing turned out, you can have another go. Now that you have the perfect selfie, let's finish this course by sending it to a friend. We're going to send the photo using a feature of the Messages app that lets you attach a picture. First, find the Share icon in the row of icons underneath your selfie. On most phones, it looks like 3 dots connected together. Tap on it. The Share menu pops up. There are lots of options here, but let's scroll down the menu until you can see Messages. Tap the Messages icon. The Messages app opens and will ask you to choose a recipient. At the top, type in the whole name of a contact or their mobile phone number. Then tap the contact's name in the list. Now tap Done. The message screen will appear, showing the photo already attached and ready to go. There is also a box where you can type in a short message to go with the selfie. When you're ready, tap the Send arrow. Once the message has been sent, the photo will appear in the conversation view. Now tap the Home button to close the message and return to the home screen. Congratulations! You have completed the course and learned how to use the camera on your Android phone, how to take, edit and save your photos, and how to send them to a friend. Your phone's camera and gallery apps have lots of other options for taking and editing pictures, so enjoy experimenting with them to get the most out of your photos. Remember, you can always rewind this video to go over any steps you're unsure about. But if you're ready to move on, there are lots more courses to explore.
Welcome back, everyone. So I hope those of you are Android users. For those of you who are watching that video, if you found that it maybe moved a little bit too fast for you, that's okay. The beautiful thing is you can always wind this video back and watch it again, or alternatively, jump on over to the Be Connected website and just pause the video at any part that you like. There's also great lots and lots of little resources out there for Android users, and you've got a wide variety of different camera apps that are available to you as well, which is pretty fantastic. There's actually a really good range of camera apps. So if you're an Android smartphone user, take a few moments in the next couple of minutes, or maybe after this workshop, feel free to pause this video if you like, and go on over to the Android App Store known as the Google Play Store. That's a white square with an arrow pointing to the right, and the arrow is made up of shards of different colors. When you get over there, all you need to do is tap the icon for the Google Play Store to get in there. Top of the screen there, you'll find a search bar. Tap the word search and just type in the word camera, and you should see a whole lot of different camera apps come up. You do have not only the camera app, which is built into your phone, but there's a lot of different other camera apps and other apps that will help you enhance your photos as well. So there's a whole world of photography available to you. Also, don't be afraid of Googling up best camera app for Android, or good camera technique for Android as well. Those sorts of things can really, really help you. And there's a number of excellent YouTube videos that you can watch that'll give you some tips on how to be a great photographer using your Android camera. And sometimes even they'll have videos that are actually specific to your particular device, which is fantastic. So that, I think, is fantastic. We've got some more to do after this next video, which is for those of you who are iPhone people. Like me, I'm an Apple iPhone guy. I've had an iPhone not long after they came out. So, I love my iPhone 10. It's got a great little camera in it. It's almost as good as my DSLR. And with the newer smartphones now, the cameras on those devices are exceptionally good and as close to a DSLR that they're ever going to get, without needing specialized lenses. And that's all changing as well. There are all sorts of different lenses you can get for your smartphones, and especially the iPhones and the Android cameras too. So let's have a look at this little video now about the iPhone side of things, and I'll be back with you soon to do some demos.
Welcome to the Apple iPhone Using the Camera course. In this course, you'll learn how to quickly access your iPhone's built-in camera, how to take a photo and use it as a background image, how to take a selfie, how to delete a photo you don't like, and how to edit a photo and send it to a friend. This video should take around 20 minutes to complete, but you can pause or rewind at any time to check the steps. Before we begin, check your phone is charged and switched on and showing the lock screen. Your operating software should also be up to date. To follow all the steps in this course, your phone will also need to have a plan with a mobile phone provider and mobile reception. To get started, let's look at how to quickly access the camera on your phone when it's locked. This handy shortcut lets you snap a photo or record video without having to first enter the passcode, so you never miss a shot. With your iPhone showing the lock screen, simply swipe left to open the camera app. When you start the camera app from the lock screen, your phone is still locked. You will be able to take photos and see the photos you've just taken. You won't, however, be able to use any other features of your phone until you unlock it. Opening the camera app activates the camera and the screen shows you what the camera can see. This is called the live view. The camera isn't taking pictures or recording right now. It's just ready to use. Along the bottom edge of the live view, you will see a list of options for taking different types of photos and even videos. You can swipe left and right on these to see all the options. But for this demonstration, we're going to select Photo. To take a photo, hold the camera so the live view is showing what you want to photograph. When you are happy with the scene, tap the middle Capture button. The phone will make a sound like a camera going click, and the screen will blink. Well done! You've taken a photo. The photo will be saved to your iPhone's Photos app, and we'll look at that in more detail later in this course. You can, however, always view the last photo you've taken by tapping the square to the left of the Capture button. Tap on it to see your photo. Adding a photo as a background image on the home screen is a fun way to personalize your phone. So let's do that now. To change the background image, you need to first unlock your iPhone. Press the Home button once to show the lock screen, and then again to show the keypad so you can enter your passcode. Enter your passcode to unlock your iPhone. To change the background image, we need to use the Settings app. Find the Settings icon on your home screen and tap it. From the Settings menu, scroll down until you find Wallpaper. Tap on Wallpaper to continue. Now tap on Choose a new wallpaper near the top of the screen. On the Choose page, tap on Recent. The last few photos you took will appear here as what we call thumbnails. A thumbnail is just a smaller version of a photo. In this demonstration, we just have one recent photo. Tap on it to choose it as a background image. The screen will change to show a preview of how the photo will look on the home screen. You can adjust the position of the photo with your finger by moving it left, right, or even up or down. When you are happy with how the photo looks, tap Set. Some options will pop up asking you if you want to set lock screen, set home screen, or set both. In our demonstration, we're just going to set the photo as our home screen wallpaper. Tap on Set Home Screen. Well done! Tap the Home button to close the photos and see your new background. Now, your iPhone can have several pages of home screens, depending on how many apps you have. If you can't see the new background photo clearly on the first home screen, swipe left to see it on the next one. Lovely! Next, let's take another kind of photo called a selfie. A selfie is any photo taken using the iPhone's front-facing camera. It's called a selfie because it's usually a photo of, well, yourself. First, let's find the camera app. It's on the first home screen. So swipe right to return to it. Tapping the camera icon on the home screen will open the camera app. But there's also a shortcut you can use at any time, whether you're in an app, on a call, or browsing a website. This shortcut uses your phone's built-in Control Center menu. The way you open the Control Center depends on your iPhone model. You can swipe your finger up from the bottom of the screen or down from right at the top. The swipe should begin with your finger in the bezel, which is the black or white area that surrounds the screen. For this demonstration, we'll be swiping up from the bottom center of the screen. Look for the camera icon in the row of icons at the bottom of the control center. Tap it to open the camera app. Now, find the Selfie button. It looks like an outline of a camera with two arrows inside it. Once you've found the Selfie button, tap on it. This will swap the viewpoint to the front-facing camera and your face should appear in the live view. You might need to hold the iPhone out at arm's length and at a bit of an angle to get the shot lined up the way you want it. Tap the Capture button to take your selfie. The iPhone will make a click sound and the photo will be automatically saved in the Photos app. Now, getting the perfect selfie can take a bit of practice. Everyone has their own idea of what makes a good selfie. For instance, if you want your selfie to show you looking directly at the camera, instead of looking at the live view like a mirror, look at the top of the iPhone. This means you'll be looking at the lens of the selfie camera. Let's take a couple more practice selfies now by tapping the Capture button. Next, let's look at the photos we've taken so far in the iPhone's Photos app. Tap the Home button to return to the home screen. Find the Photos app on the home screen and tap to open it. The Photos app has a few different ways to look at your photos, and it's worth exploring them later. For now, we'll use the All Photos view. This shows a grid of all your photos with the newest photos at the bottom. If you can't see the selfies you just took, you might need to scroll down to the bottom of the screen first. Tap one of the selfies to make it fill up the whole screen. You can keep viewing your photos in this full screen mode. To see the previous photo, swipe right. To see the next photo, swipe left. If you find a photo or a selfie you don't like, you can easily delete it from your iPhone. At the bottom of the screen, you should see an icon of a garbage can. This is the Delete button. Tap it now. A small box appears, letting you know that this photo will be deleted from your iPhone. Tap Delete Photo. The screen will show the next photo in the Photos app instead. Well done! The unwanted photo has been deleted. Remember, each time you take a photo, your iPhone saves the photo automatically. You don't have to save the photos yourself. You can also do some basic photo editing using your iPhone's Photos app. For example, you can reduce the photo's width or height, known as cropping, straighten an uneven shot, and much more. Let's edit the selfie photo that's on the screen right now. In the top right of the screen, look for the word Edit. Tap it, and icons for some different controls will appear. It's worth coming back and experimenting with each of these controls later. But for this demonstration, we're going to crop the edges off our photo. Find the Crop control. It looks a bit like a box with dotted arrows around it. Tap on the Crop control to go to cropping mode. Tap and hold one of the bottom corners of the photo and slide upward. When you're happy with the composition of the new photo, take your finger off the display. The view changes to show how the photo looks after cropping the edges. If you're not happy with the photo, you can tap Cancel. Then on the options that pop up, tap Discard Changes. To have another go at cropping, tap Edit. And then tap the Crop control again. And drag the corners as before. Have a play with how the crop controls work. And when you're happy with the result, tap Done in the bottom right of the screen. The cropped selfie has now been saved and has replaced the original as a new photo in the Photos app and will be showing on the screen. If you want the original selfie back, tap Edit again. Then look for Revert at the bottom right of the screen and tap it. Now tap Revert to Original to restore it. Once you are happy that you have the perfect selfie, let's finish this course by sending it to a friend. We're going to send a photo using a feature of the Messages app that lets you attach a picture. First, find the Share icon in the row of icons underneath your selfie. It looks like a square with an arrow pointing upwards out of it. Tap the Share icon to continue. The Share menu pops up. There are lots of options here, but we're going to use the Messages app. Tap the Messages icon. The new message screen appears, showing your selfie already in the body of the message, ready to go. You just need to choose someone to send it to. At the top, the To box is already selected for you. You can type in the whole name of a contact or their mobile phone number if you know it. A list of contacts will appear as you type. Tap on the contact's name in the list. To add a message, tap on or near the selfie, then type a short note. To send the message, we're going to tap the Send arrow at the bottom right of the selfie. If your friend also has an iPhone, this arrow will be blue. If they have some other kind of mobile phone, it will be green. They will still get your message either way. Tap the Send arrow to send your message. Well done! The new iMessage screen will close, and you'll be back in the Photos app showing your selfie. Now, tap the Home button to close the Photos app and return to the home screen. Congratulations! You have completed the course and learned how to use the Camera app on your iPhone to take, edit, save and send your photos. Your iPhone's Camera and Photos apps have lots of other options for taking and editing pictures. So enjoy experimenting with them to get the most out of your photos. Remember, you can always rewind this video to go over any steps you're unsure about. But if you're ready to move on, there are lots more courses to explore.
Welcome back, everyone. So there we go, iPhone and Android people. You've got the basics now. Now, of course, you can rewatch the video anytime, as they were saying, or you can go to the Be Connected website, beconnected.esafety.gov.au. Let's get a little bit into technique and talk about a few things now. Now, I'm using my front-facing camera with you today, which is pretty good, and we're going to switch into that camera. So I need to just stop our sharing. There we go. And there you are. You can see me right in front of you at present. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to take you through the basics of the selfie. Now, usually we have selfies up here. You know, a good selfie should be up here, makes your face look nice, that sort of thing. Ooh. Now, you're getting a lot of my face right there, not particularly what we want. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to switch into screen sharing and see if we can actually go to the Camera app on my phone. Okay, so I'm just going to stop my main video. There we go. And we'll go to my iPhone now. Actually, that's not so great when we're really close up. Goodness me. So let's actually come into a proper sharing screen, shall we? And what I'll do is I'll switch cameras to a different camera. And we'll go with the FaceTime camera. Okay, there we go. So you should be able to see me on the FaceTime camera there any time now. So, okay, there we go. Can you see me on the other one? I hope you can. Now, what I've got here is I've got my phone and I'm going to go into the Camera app. There we go, bring up camera. here we are on the back camera, which is great, but if I switch my cameras around, in order to do that on my phone, I need to touch the image of a circle on the right-hand side, bottom right-hand side of my screen. It looks actually like two arrows rotating around each other in the shape of a circle, and it's to the right of the very large white circle, which is in the bottom center of my screen. Now that gives me my front-facing camera. Now, of course, a good selfie should essentially be up here, okay? Selfie should be about head height or a little bit higher. Just takes a little bit off the turkey twaddle, okay? So it just takes a little bit of that weight off the face. Because if a selfie is down here, all you're getting is extra. And now, I don't particularly, want to look like my dad too early. So maybe this is not really the best look. Add several, kilos to the face. But as we come up, we suddenly see the change. And so that's the thing with selfies, get that selfie camera up. It's a really important thing to do. It just helps you to look a little bit slimmer, takes the extra weight off your face. Although we don't want to start doing this business when we're all going on up here. That's where you get a bit silly, okay? But just keeping the camera up, that gives you a good selfie. Keeping the face nice and centered with the top half of the face in the top half of the image there. So your eyes are essentially roughly at a third from the top of the screen, and you should have a bit of room for your head there. That's a sort of a standard, what we call, a standard close-up or a headshot there. So yeah, it makes you look quite nice. You can do what you like. You can have your cameras on or glasses on or glasses off, whatever you like. And then of course it's taking that selfie. Now, while I have the camera, okay, so one of the things, you usually would take a photo with the white button on the bottom. There we go. But you could also take photos with the up volume button as well. Yeah, the up volume button. You can definitely do that too. So when we're talking about using the up volume button, I'm meaning actually the volume button which rests here. So everyone's got an up and down volume button. When you're in the camera app, you can use that as your button to actually take the photos. So you can go whop, ding, and away you go, and use that up shutter button, the volume up button as your shutter button as well, which is really handy. Now, while you're actually doing this, a couple of other things to think about too. So when you're holding your phone, think about actual technique of holding your phone. So if you've got a phone where you've got the camera is on the bottom edge there or the top, think about having some fingers across the bottom of your phone and maybe using your index fingers. So you've got your hands out of the way, or the middle fingers to hold and your index finger as your shutter button. Okay, that's one way to take a photo. So that way your fingers, your thumbs are bracing across the bottom, middle fingers are nice and there, and away you go. Don't get too tight either. Don't let your muscles get tight, just loosen off. So not a bad thing, just to loosen off when you're doing your photos there. So doing that way. Some people like to do the one-hander grippy. That's fine for when you're doing photos in the portrait view. If you're in landscape again, some people have different grips that they like, but always just remember to be careful of your pinky finger, because the last thing you want is pinky finger photos. They're not a good look, pinky photos, so we want to try and avoid pinky photos. Now, another thing to think about is accessories and so on before we go into the camera itself. So I want to quickly just show you an accessory. Now, one of the accessories I use with my phone is a gimbal. Now, this little guy here has a joystick, essentially. It's got a little stick here that lets me move it around. I've got some buttons to turn on the device and record as well. And essentially I can sit my phone camera within the gimbal. So what I do is I take the gimbal, it's got a set of teeth here, and I pull the teeth apart. So I pull the teeth apart and I pop the camera in the gimbal. Now, I haven't done this in a while, so it's a little bit fiddly. There are lots of different brands out there as well that do these gimbals and things too. Sometimes they can be super fiddly, sometimes they can be really easy. This one does tend to be on the more fiddly side. Now, there we go. And if I turn on the actual device, what generally happens is it picks up and then it goes, oh, look, I've got a camera there. And it can then rotate and actually let you use the actual device here. Let's go. Let's see what happens if I turn it on. No, not quite enough juice in there for me today, perhaps. But usually what happens with this device is when I actually turn it, the motors turn the camera for me, left and right, and then also up and down as well. So they can go up and down there too, which basically allows me to get really lovely, super smooth images. I can do this for when I'm doing panorama photos and all sorts of other different types of photos. So yeah, it's a really great little idea, these camera gimbals. They allow you to take photos nice and steadily without ever having to worry about you know, getting an incorrect shot or anything like that. They're very, very good. And camera gimbals like this are around, I think, about $100. If you don't even have to go a camera gimbal, you could get a good basic little tripod for your smartphone for around $20 or $30, which is just absolutely perfect for what you need. These are great for things such as doing panorama shots, where you've got the camera actually doing essentially a 180, where you need it to be nice and steady. So these are particularly good for that, because all you do is just pull your joystick to the right and the camera just rotates for you. So gimbals and tripods are a really great option for your smartphone camera to use, just to give yourself better options for when you're taking photos. When we actually go in and have a look at some of these photo options in a second, you'll understand a little bit more why. So I'm a big fan of using these. Also lighting, if you've got access to light, that's really, really great. The better lighting that you have, the better things will be. Always remember to try and stand with your subject facing light where possible. And if you are taking a photo of them, be mindful of shadows, because you don't necessarily want shadows, your shadow of you being a photographer in the photo. That's not necessarily a good thing. So let's come into the photo app on the phone and we'll have a look and see. So bear with me. Let's get that camera app back on and let's share the phone. Oh. Right, here we go, everyone. So yes, and I notice you're noticing a big space where my face should be. That's my little microphone. Okay, here we go. So we're back onto the phone again. Right. So here we are, we've got the camera and you can see it's on my desk and it's pointing at my desk, and I might want to take some photos of something. So I've got a number of different types of modes that my camera have and a couple of different things. But you'll notice first of all on my camera that you can see that there are some lines running down the screen, some white lines. These are known as the grid, and the grid helps you compose a photo. Essentially, you could put something within the space of the grid and decide to whether or not it's worthy of a photo, or if you like to frame it as such. So generally something that's in the middle of the screen, right in the middle there, is generally really boring, but if you move it off to the side, it's a bit more interesting. And if you go low, you can get interesting views as well. There you go, you get something that's a little bit interesting. I might take a photo of that. There we go, we've got a photo. I could also rotate my camera into the landscape view and try a photo here. There we go, that's an interesting one. Now, if I go to take a photo, one of the things to remember as well is that when you are doing smartphone photography, think about your positioning, but you can also tap the screen to focus the photo. So for example, if I focus in the rear, there we go, it's now focusing on the 3D printer behind us. If I tap the skull again, there we go, now we've focused back on the skull. So you can tap various parts of the screen to get your focus, okay? Now, when you're doing that as well, when you're tapping for focus, you may also note that you see a sunlight. When you tap that sunlight, that's allowing you to change the exposure of the image, dragging it upwards for more exposure, dragging it down for less exposure as well. And of course, you can touch anywhere within the photo you like to recenter, re-expose, and play with your image if you like. So, you know, for example, we could play with the elephants here, perhaps, and see if I want to, you know, how could I do that photo? What could I do, you know? And you're thinking about how you're going to frame your photo and then tapping to take the photo. Now, of course, with the grid and so on, it really depends on whether or not the settings that you have in your camera app are set up for these sorts of things. So for example, you may want to check, my goodness me, you may want to check that you've actually gone into the settings screen on your phone and you've had a look at some of the settings. So for example here, if you go into the settings screen here, and then once we go into settings, have a look at the various settings on your phone. And if you've got a camera setting, scroll down the screen to camera. Okay, and we should find it. There it is, tap camera. And now what you'll see within the camera screen is a number of different types of camera options you can use. So you've got different types of formatting. Now, this might not necessarily appear on non-iPhones or earlier versions of iPhones, but they do have different recording formats there. You've got recording video, 1080p, 1080p at 60 frames a second. So what that's saying is when I'm recording normal video on my phone, or when I'm recording video, it's shooting it at standard high definition, which is at 1080p, at 60 frames per second. So what that's doing is it's actually generating 60 images per second. When I give that a tap, I can also change to whether or not I want to go to 30 frames per second, drop the resolution down to 720, or up my resolution to 4K, which is cinema quality resolution, and then whether or not I want to record at 24, 30, or 60 frames per second. Now, whenever you're playing with these sorts of settings within your camera, one of the things you need to be aware of is the fact that if you choose a higher resolution and a higher quality, you'll be generating a much larger file size as well, which means that your camera may only have, your smartphone may only have a small amount of room on it. So just be careful. You know, if you are wanting to get into the full, you know, 4K cinema experience, just make sure that you've got plenty of room on your camera, on the phone there, to be able to store the videos that you've got. Okay. If not, maybe clear out as much room on the phone as possible before you go shooting, and, you know, record only parts at a time. I've got options here for recording stereo sound, recording slow motion. So when my phone records slow motion, it records it at 240 frames per second. I'll give you a slow motion demo in a few moments. You've got options for preserving settings, so it remembers previous settings that you've used. Burst photos, scanning QR codes. If you're ever curious about that, just turn that on. So that way, if you do come across a QR code and you can't find, say, the Surface Victoria app, the least you can do is go into the camera app and it should automatically scan it for you. The new live text option where your camera, oh, I love this. Some smartphone cameras now can actually read the text off photos and billboards and things. Pretty amazing. And you can even copy it. It's wow. So we've got the grid there under composition, so I can see my grid. And then I've got options here for prioritizing faster shooting and using HDR. HDR, high dynamic range. Okay, so high dynamic range, it's essentially the best color that you can get out of a photo. It's been designed so that instead of when you're taking an image of the sky, you see the sky as blue, but the camera might see it as white. What the camera will do is come along and fix that and make it blue again. So high dynamic range, pretty amazing stuff. So do have a look at the settings there. That's very, very important. Now let's come and have a look at the different modes that you get when you're shooting here. So most smartphones will have some sort of time lapse option. So with time lapse, essentially what I could do is I could start the time lapse up, and the time lapse just basically records anything that's happening over time. It then compresses time. So anything you say you see is 10 minutes or 15 minutes may only play out in a mere matter of seconds. Now, what I'm doing right now is I'm doing a little time lapse of the printer printing away. And when I stop that time lapse, when I go to play that time lapse back, we should see this prep. There we go. Very fast. So that's our little time lapse there. Bang, working very fast as our time lapse. So the time lapse is the compression of time. That's the time lapse. If I go to the slow-mo is stretching time. So we're stretching time when we do slow motion there. So, and that's what happens when we do slow-mo. Okay, just making a quick check. There we go. So let's try doing a slow-mo. So I've got a glass of water here, and I'm going to slush that water around and then stop the video. So now when we play it back, there we go, and you can see the fluid of the water moving. It's incredible, isn't it? Just to think that you know, there is such movement within water. And then when we do a slow-mo, you can see all that slowed right back down again. Yeah, pretty amazing that. So that's the slow-mo effect there. And yeah, you can, wow. So very amazing that. I just find that really interesting. It's probably my favorite one is slow-mo. Now, of course, we've got standard video. It does what it says on the tin, does standard video. So if we are going to do a video, what you can see is at the top of the screen, you've got some zeros. That's your timer. Top left corner of the screen, you've got a circle with a thunderbolt. That's to say whether or not you want to have the flash on or off. If you want to have the flash on, so you can shoot video at night. In the top right-hand corner, it's got HD and then the letter 60. If I take HD, I can choose between the resolution, so 4K HD video shooting, 60 frames a second or 30 frames a second. I can choose between those ones as well. And then if I start recording, you'll see that the numbers at the top go red and away I go. If I want to actually shoot video, I can still do all of the features that I would do previously by zooming in and out, pinching my finger to zoom in and out there, and I can tap the screen to focus. I can still lower my exposure. I can still raise my exposure as well. And then of course I can tap elsewhere on the image to come along and get a better view of whatever the video is doing. There we go. I can tap and refocus again. Fantastic. There's a bit there on the taking video. Now, of course, again, you can see here now that I've gone to photo, the grid lines have popped up. So the grid lines, again, is letting you compose your image. But a couple of things have appeared at the very top of the screen. So Android users, you may see something similar. You might actually see an icon which lets you access a number of different functions. So for example, in the top right corner of my screen, I've got a number of concentric circles with a line. If I tap that, that is turning on or off the live photo function. That's an Apple feature that basically takes a second of video before and after your photos, so you can actually capture people correctly. That one's great for when you're doing photos of groups and you have to get everyone to smile and someone inevitably blinks or doesn't smile at the right time. With live photos, you can capture the right particular frame. If I tap my little arrow in the top center, it shows my headings down the bottom with my extra tools. So there I've got a thunderbolt, so I can turn my flash on or off. Again, the concentric circles for live photos. 4:3, if I tap that, 4:3 square 16:9. So I'm choosing here the different types of photos I want. So if I wanted to do an Instagram photo, I would tap square and that would take my photo into the square aspect. Say for an Instagram photo, if I tap it again, I went 4:3, it expands it out to standard sort of television resolutions there. And then if I tap it again to take it to 16:9, it takes me to full screen and shows me the entire thing, which is pretty cool. So 4:3, 16:9, you do get those different options. I've also got the timer, 3 and 10 seconds for the timer there. So I can have a timer photo, which was very, very handy when you need it. And the right corner here is filters. So I can actually take a photo with a filter on already. So I could go straight into the noir and maybe try and take a photo in the noir or the noir, whatever you want to call it. And then there we go, let's go. There we are, there's our photo. And I could probably then come along and edit it. Now, so there we are, that's our photo editing tools that are built in to the actual iPhone camera itself when you actually have a look at those. Now, right now, the filter for noir is still on, so I'm going to tap that filter and turn that filter off, but my original photo is still in noir, which is great. Okay, so yeah, all sorts of different little options there. Portrait photos, this is starting to appear in lots of different cameras now. Did originally come with the iPhones. If I switch to the front-facing camera, with the portrait cameras, what it does, it actually just blurs out the backgrounds there and gives you different lighting for your face. So it simulates lighting there, and you can see different lighting. There we go, there's the white background. I like to call that the Michael Landon special, as I'm going to heaven. But I've got all these different types of photos that I can do in the portrait modes, and you can use those with the front or face. This one's using the contour light, so it's actually looking at the contours on my face and trying to actually make me look a lot nicer. I don't know about that, but it's an interesting attempt, let's put it that way. And lastly here, we've got panorama photos. Now, panorama photos are essentially ones where you can grab a 180-degree image in a big panorama. Now, in order to do a panorama, I can see if I can swing around. And what we would do is we've got the little white line, the little yellow line and the white arrow. If I tap that, I have to then move my phone around, but while keeping the edge of the arrow on the yellow line. Now, of course, that's not particularly easy to do. And one of the things with it is that you can get quite messy. And I find they do get quite messy. So sometimes what I do with these, oh, that is messy. Ooh, goodness me, very messy. Righto, there we go. There's a bit of a messy panorama, that one. Not that great a panorama, to be honest with you. With panoramas, they're much better off being done when you've got your camera in a gimbal or in a tripod, something like that, because they do work a lot better when they've got something stable. Because right now, my poor synthesizers and keyboards and things look pretty mashed. Okay, not the best panorama you might have ever seen in your entire life. I do apologize. Now, one of the things you can do with any photos that you take, of course, is you can edit them. So here is our little black and white photo that I took just then in that lovely noir filter of the little 3D printed skull. Now I want to edit that. So on your screen, depending on the type of phone you have, you may have an edit button. If we tap that edit button, it brings you up a number of different tools. As we saw in the iPhone video, one of the things we could do is crop it. And I think cropping is probably not a bad thing. So I'm going to crop the photo here. Let's see if I can crop it down and take the bottom off it. Now it's wanting to automatically crop, and I don't want that to happen. I still want to come along here, and there we go. I'm just using my fingers on the screen here to do what's called a pinch to zoom. And when I'm pinching to zoom, and essentially, I don't know if you can see that here on this camera, but I'm using my two fingers there to pinch on the image to move it in and out. So using a pinch to zoom, resizing, re-pushing things around with the image there a little bit as well. I'm going to choose freeform at the bottom and just pull up the, there we go, that's a lot better. Okay, here we go. So there is a crop done there on my little photo. If I come back then down to the bottom of the screen, there we go. I've still got some number of different editing tools that I can use. And one of the things you can do is edit your photos in camera. Okay, there's no need to worry about having your photos out of, into another machine or into a third-party app. You can often edit them within the camera. Now you'll see here that I've just tapped the magic wizard button, and that's meant to auto fix. Now sometimes it works well and sometimes it doesn't. Funnily enough, you're seeing a little bit differently on your screens. What I'm seeing on my phone, I'm not exactly that happy about. I actually prefer the darker tones. So I'm going to turn that off, and I can play with this myself using a number of the different settings across the bottom. I've got options for exposure here. I've got options for brilliance, highlights, and you can see there's a number of different photo options that we can see for playing with color. So I can saturate and desaturate the image as well. If it's a color image, I could play with a black point, which is like the blackest black in the image. So I do want a really dark or gray tone. So I can play with those, of course, all the way up to things like adding a vignette to the image. So it gives it sort of that old-timey look. I can take some noise reduction in there if it's got any sort of fuzz or pixelation or any sort of fuzziness. I can add some definition to really make make lines and edges pop. So I can up that definition. I can make the image a little bit sharper on its edges. I can even change color tints within black and white as well, because when you change color tints within black and white, you can affect the way the image looks. You can get quite interesting there. And the same with warmth as well. You can see there's a bit of change in the warmth there. So there is our little photo there. Now it's been through some post-processing. And it gains a different look when you put it through post-processing. It's quite an interesting thing that happens when you start editing your photos. So that's your editing. Isn't that pretty amazing? Now, let's go and talk about some other options about things you can buy and add to your phone as well, okay? Because there's still more to talk about and cover. So let's come back into our screen share, and I'll just bring up the screen I'd like to share with you. So one of the things I often say to people is think about jumping into retail websites, okay, and have a look at what's around. And so I thought one of the things people like to look for are selfie sticks. People like to take photos of themselves. They love to do selfies. So why not show you some of the options there? So now I'm using JB Hi-Fi's website as a reference. Okay, I'm not using it as any sort of commercial endorsement in any way. So yeah, please don't take it that I am in any way, shape or form. We're just using it purely for reference here. So with the Be Connected website, I think there's lots there that you can see, and I recommend you have a look at it. But here we are over at JB Hi-Fi's, just for some reference, and I'll show you Ted's camera house as well. So what we can see is, first of all, as we scroll down the screen, we've got lots of different little selfie sticks. Some selfie sticks that even come with tripods built into the bottom. So good old classic selfie sticks. I think selfie sticks are banned in some locations. Weird. You got the pop sockets. Everyone loves the pop sockets. Pop the pop socket on the back of the camera. It gives you something to grip onto. So lots of these little camera accessories and things that you can get for your smartphone cameras. Selfie sticks. You can get podcasting kits as well, which you can use to do professional video recording with, and so on. One of the other things to think about are the other accessories that you can use with your smartphone camera. So you've got vlogging kits here, which is a selfie stick with another camera on the front of it and a microphone there. So you can record and video yourself at the same time. You've got lots of different lenses you can use now. So there's fish-on lenses and wide-angle lenses. You can even get a telephoto lens, which is great. So if you've got an older smartphone and you still want to take photos with it and you don't have necessarily the money to upgrade, what you could do is think about looking at getting a spare lens from somewhere like Ted's or any of the major retailers that are around that do these sorts of add-ons. There you go. You've got your little tripod mount there as well. Lots of different lens options that come from different makers. So there's quite a bit out there that you can have as accessories for your smartphones. So stands, lenses, tripod kits, lighting kits. There is just so much out there. So your smartphone photography life can just be more than taking point and click photos. It could also just be taking point and click photos. That's fantastic, but it can be a whole lot more than that. So yeah, have a think about whether or not you want to entertain yourself in terms of getting yourself an extra lens or anything like that, but do have a think about that before you do it. My personal recommendation is at the very least to get yourself some sort of tripod of some kind. So at least that if you do want to do lovely portrait or landscape photos, you don't necessarily have to worry too much about wobbly hands. Okay, so that's a really, really good one. I think definitely just a little old basic tripod. You can get them from lots of places, not only from Ted's or JB's, Big W, Kmart, you name it, anywhere that basically sells accessories for smartphones, you should be able to get yourself something little simple, like the little Manfrotto Pixel. There's a tripod and it's got the clamp and the whole bit ready for it to go, which is really great. One piece I think you should be aware of, if you do go to buy lenses for smartphones, try to avoid the cheaper ones, because some of the cheaper ones tend to fall apart, particularly if they're all-in-one models or clip-ons. Think about something that's probably a little bit more expensive and a little bit more sturdy, particularly if you are wanting to use your phone for a wide variety of types of photography, including things such as landscapes and portrait photography. Now, one other thing to consider is, how do you get your photos from your phone and out to friends? So on the videos, they talked about messaging photos. You can also use different features such as iCloud Photos or your Google Photos. So if you've got the Google Photos app on your phone, it may already be set up so that it's actually sending copies of your photos up to the cloud, which is fantastic. If you're an Apple person and you're using iCloud Photos, then iCloud Photos is already sending a copy of your photos up to the cloud as well, which means that you can come and have a look at them at any time, which is really great. You can share your photos through those different services, and you can even have shared photo albums that you can share with people as well. So quite a bit there in regards to smartphone photos. So let's just recap. First of all smartphone cameras come with a front camera and a back camera. Your front camera is known as your selfie camera. Your back camera is known as your standard photography camera. Your back camera should also come with a flash on the back of it. That flash may have two colors in it, sometimes known as a true tone flash. And so the flash, what it's trying to do is it's trying to recreate the skin tones of everyone in the room. So that way, when it does take a photo, it doesn't sort of overexpose anyone and make them look like Casper. When you're using your smartphones and you're wanting to take photos, remember that when you do go into the camera app, you'll usually have a white circle at the bottom of the screen that you can tap to take a photo, or hold on and it will start a video. Also though, you can also use the volume up button as the shutter button, or hold it down to take a video. Some cameras and some smartphones, if you hold it down, it may go into burst mode, where it takes a number of photos in succession, very much like a DSLR camera being used to take sports photos. So burst photos can be particularly great if you're out, say, at the sports or family venues, you know, children playing, all that sort of stuff. You can get some really great action photos with burst photos. So front and back cameras, you've got those. You've got the flash there as well. Also, think about accessories such as selfie sticks and gimbals and tripods, just to mount your camera on, to save you ye oldie wobbly hands. When you're gripping your camera as well, think about thumbs underneath the bottom, index fingers are free at the top to take a photo, and with your other fingers gripping the camera, and be aware of pinky fingers getting into the camera as well, because the last thing we want is pinky photos. So sometimes I like to call this one the startled possum, where the hands are open, okay, but there's no fingers in front of the camera. So you can try the startled possum. There's also the pistol grip, where you've got your camera over the top like that, over the top of your arm and resting that way as well. So there's other types of grips that you can use when you're shooting photos as well. If you're shooting video in your camera, remember that with your smartphone, the higher quality video that you shoot, the more it's going to use in terms of storage. So think about how much room your device has. Maybe clear out a whole lot of room if you want to do a whole lot of very high resolution or high quality shooting. The top high-end smartphone cameras these days are capable of shooting video which is comparable to cinema. So you are really getting up there. All they really need is very good lighting. Once they've got great lighting, those cameras can do practically anything, and you've got lots of really, really good accessories and things to get out amongst them. Now, of course, you can go to the Be Connected website anytime you like for more information. beconnected.esafety.gov.au is the website, beconnected.esafety.gov.au. Let's take you back over to Be Connected. And just remember that today's sessions were coming from the Apple iPhone using the camera and the going further sections, and the same with the Android ones as well. Have a look at those. They've got some really great stuff in there for those of you who are new to iPhones or Android phones as well. So do feel free to have a look at the other parts of those courses. There's some really amazing stuff at Be Connected, so do feel free to have a look at that.